I think there's so many different reasons behind that, but in my mind, it's the roots that there is a money problem. Our money is corrupt.
Our money is rotten.
Money is rotten. And it's been rotten since 1971. Been rotten before that, but 1971 amplified it and exposed it. And that rottenness of money, because money is a tool. It is a tool. And today people are struggling with money. And so they're looking for answers in all the wrong places. And everywhere they're looking for part of a system, though I don't believe the teachers in the school know any better. They're following what they've been told to do. But there are people that are pulling the strings in this world right now that, like puppet masters, it's power. They're looking for power and to hold power. And if you understand the system behind all of the problems that we have today, it's the money system. It is the money system.
And after 71, every time they printed money, the rich got richer and the poor got poor. Because when you print money, inflation goes up, or real estate goes up, like gold goes up, oil goes up, sugar, salt, chicken, eggs, milk goes up also. So this fake money is setting this gap between the rich and poor that's so excessive. It's dangerous now in my experience. And it's because of our unsound money.
I was going to say,
nice subject.
We all know, we've all talked about this, that they don't teach money in school. So we all had to learn it outside of the system.
Right.
And so one of the things that I learned is, who are your teachers?
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things. And if it's 10 seconds on TikTok and that's your teacher, then that could be a problem. Might not be, but it could be. You got to really, really be careful on what you're letting in. No different than food. If you eat the wrong food, you're going to get fat. If you put the wrong stuff in your brain from this stuff, you're going to have a problem, and I think that's what we have right now.
One of the ways, and we talked a little bit about this on a show we did earlier today, it's the ownership economy and the dependency economy. And I think the algorithms on our phone are trying to keep people dependent on the medical system, the financial system, the education system.
Social security.
The more you're dependent on that's in direct violation with freedom. You'll never be free unless you're independent. And money is the tool to help you become independent, but it starts right here. You have to free your mind before your economics will ever follow.
But this is the worst part. The more they print, more inflation goes up.
Yeah.
And this is why Trump is such a good man, because he is involved in the Genius Act. And the Genius Act is why Ethereum is going to go up. So we're here at a mining conference. I own gold mines. I took a gold mine public. So the Genius Act, what it does is that Ethereum is the new power for stable coins. And so there's salvation in the crypto world. So Ethereum comes up, and what guys like us can do, we can create our own stable coin. But a stable coin is stable only because we create this coin, but it has to be stable by gold or oil or a bond or something. In other words, the stable coin goes back to the old form of money, which was taken away in 1971 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. So there's hope in sight, and that's why Trump and his family, they're very much into crypto. And he says the Genius Act was named after him, of course. He's a good guy. In fact, the No Kings movement, I interviewed Eric Trump, and I said, Eric, I got bad news for you. He goes, what? I said, I've been to your home. You invited me to your wedding at Mar-a-Lago. I hate to say this, but you guys do live like kings. And the difference between Trump and the Trump boys, they're great guys, aren't they?
They're incredible. Yeah.
They're incredible young men. They want everybody to be rich. That's the difference with them. You can teach people to be rich. You can, give people fish or teach them to fish. We're teachers.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking earlier, what do you think is more valuable? An actual physical gold coin or one share of an ETF called gold? Like, it's pretty interesting that they basically just take a hard asset and make it a derivative. And so everybody buys the paper. When we all know we're just teach, like, buy a hard asset, water, silver, gold, real estate, let the economy do its thing. But what everybody does is they buy all the stocks. We already know when the stock market goes up and down, people get wiped out, not the people that own the physical asset. That's the interesting thing.
And what I thought was funny is what you said about hit the first paycheck. He goes, what happened? What happened to the money? And that's why I've always said, the worst advice is go to school, get a job, work hard, get a paycheck, save money, instead of debt. That's how uneducated people are.
But I think that's the function of the system. I do believe that the system is designed to oppress people so that there's more power at the top. There is someone, no doubt, that pulled the trigger. Behind that trigger is an idea that's driving everything. And it's the idea that the rich are getting richer because they understand and they make the rules. Not all rich, but like there is a system designed to keep people in poverty because that keeps politicians, that keeps printing the money, that just makes it easy. And so you have to unplug from the system to see the truth for what it is so you can plug back into the system and play it as a winner, not as a pawn being played.